Hey, my beautiful people, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well today. In this video, we're going to be talking about your relationships, and not just your relationships with money, but your relationship with your partner and money and credit and expenses. So in some of my other videos, I've talked specifically about relationships or specifically about credit, and today I am merging my two favorite topics. And the reason why it's so important to talk about relationships is because there are many couples out there that don't discuss credit. I know couples personally where one partner doesn't know the other partner's credit score. They don't even know what's on their partner's credit bureau report. And that's extremely important because of the fact that when you come together in a relationship, you bring your debts, they bring their debts, and you two gotta know what's on the page. You gotta know what's on the paper. Because if they aren't being honest with you and you aren't being honest with them, you're going down a very, very slippery slope, a very steep hill. And it'll be the snowball effect because their debts will accumulate and accumulate. And it starts out as a small little snowball, and then it'll both engulf you as you go down the hill. Is she a big spender? Is he really, really cheap? These are things that you should know and boundaries that you need to establish or understand about the other person as you get into the relationship at the beginning. Because there's an old saying in the West Indian community, and it says, come see me, come live with me, two different things. So what does that mean? It means we date, we spend time together, I talk to you on the phone, I'm getting to know you, I'm courting you. And then when I come live with you, it's a completely different side. It's like the other side of the moon. So it's a completely different perception that I have of you when I'm courting you, when I'm dating you, when I'm just speaking to you on the phone. It's a completely different perception I have of you. And so my whole point is you got to get to know that other person. You got to understand where they're coming from. Talk to them about their parents' spending habits. Did they know how their parents spent money? Do you know how their parents saved money? What kind of investments did their parents have? I mean, obviously they're not going to tell you all this stuff, but you got to listen, read between the lines, listen to conversations, because people express things about the way they grew up in conversation. Oh, my mom, she always found money. Oh, my dad was a drunkard. My dad would always drink and he'd just give his paycheck to my mom. And my mom would handle everything. So when it comes to different methods, perceptions, and money matters, you got to understand how that person deals. And it's not just how they deal. How did they grow up? Right? What did they see? What are their monetary mores? And if you don't know what their monetary mores are, then that's going to be a problem later on. So we also get into the act of now you're in the relationship with a person and you start to see certain things. You start to see that, we got bills every single month, but they're able to keep up for a while, but then next thing you know, they start being short. Start shorting you on the rent. Or you hear them say, oh, I just bought this new purse, but they don't have any money for rent at the end of the month. Or they're going on a trip, but they know they owe somebody money. So things like these are red flags. And if you establish and observe these red flags in the beginning of the relationship, it gives you a clear indication of how things are going to be if you decide to take that next step with that person and say you get married or say you move in together. You want to get a good handle on how they handle money. How do they see money? What do they view money? How do they view money? Is it money is there to be spent? Or should we save money for a rainy day? I only invest in my Roth IRA or my TFSA or my RSP or my GIC only because I want to think about the tax the implications? Or do I do it because I'm thinking of the future? Do they have a life insurance policy? Do you have a life insurance policy? These are things that people watch. These are things that you should be paying attention to. These are things that they are paying attention to. Granted, when you're speed dating or when you're meeting somebody the first time, these are not topics of discussion. They're immediately going to come right up, right? But you got to be aware of certain signs and signals. If people don't manage their money effectively, they will not manage your relationship effectively because it is going to impact the relationship. So when you're talking to somebody and they say, oh, I have horrible credit, that's a red flag. Look, we all make mistakes. Sure, absolutely. It's my job here to help people with bad credit. So it's not like I expect individuals to be perfect. That's not at all what I'm saying. But you have to be aware of your tolerance, your risk tolerance. When you are with somebody that has bad credit, do you have bad credit also? And if you both have bad credit, what are you both doing to get yourself out of the rut? What are you both doing to change your current set of circumstances? And do you still want to be with somebody that has bad credit? I'm not saying that you got to judge people based on their financial circumstance. That's not it. However, it's the ability and the desire, the gumption, and the strength, intestinal fortitude to get out of the existing situation. Do you see that drive in them? Do they have that conviction? And do they have that commitment to want to better themselves and want to better the situation that they're currently in? If the answer is no, and they're complacent and they are content with a 90% utilization rate across all of their credit cards, if they are content living out of their overdraft, if they are content with a consumer proposal or a bankruptcy, or thinking that that's the only option, then that's something that you need to think about, whether that's who you want to be with or who you want to be. The old saying, show me your company and I'll tell you who you are. And the old saying about your net worth is the sum total, is the average, your net worth is the average of your 5 people that you communicate with most often. So what about the person that you are living with? There's a direct correlation, and they are a direct contributor to your net worth. You're living with them, whether they are working or whether they are not. It's not the point. Whether they are good with money or whether they are bad with money, that contributes to your belief system. So we don't really talk about this, but there's a set of monetary mores, monetary morals, and there is a money perception. Okay, and then there is a set of ideals and ideas that you grew up with or you've been exposed to by people that you look up to or you admire. So as much as people hate Donald Trump, people still admire the fact that he's rich, and he must have made some decisions somewhere along the way that allowed him to accumulate that wealth. Even if he started with a hand-me-down from his daddy. That's not the point. He was able to parlay it. He was able to flip it and flip it and flip it and flip it. So what is your perception of money? What is your perception? Are you entrepreneurial minded? Do you believe in working for someone else for the rest of your life? Or do you believe in finding a way to make your way? Finding a way to amplify your prospects, amplify what you have. If somebody put $100 in your hand, like my dad used to say, if I give you $100, how much do you have? So it's a trick question, and I never understood it until I grew older. If you put $100 in my hand, I should have 50. Because the thing is, you put 50 aside to save. You know, the old thing about paying yourself first, absolutely. Absolutely. And when you pay yourself first, you take a portion of that money and you put it in an asset that makes money for you. You put it in something that makes money for you. You find a way, even if it's just a pittance, even if it's just a small set of interest, at least, you put it in a way that it can compound for you. People don't look at money like that. A lot of times people look at, well, the money is here, I spend it now, I'm going to have more money in 2 weeks. But that's not the way to go about it. People don't move their money around efficiently. People don't move their money the way they should. A lot of people that I talk to, a lot of people that come to me with regards to financial issues, when I ask, how are you spending your money? They tell me, well, it's just from paycheck to paycheck. I'm living from paycheck to paycheck and I'm spending my money on my bills. But, there are ways where you can make your money work for you twice. Once you learn to spend $1 twice, that is the ticket. That's the trick, right? You put your money on, say, for example, you put your money on a line of credit, pay your line of credit, and then you take your money to pay your expenses. You're showing that you can make a large payment to your line of credit, and then you're also able to pay your expenses outside of that. And these are conversations that you have with your partner, and you explain to them, well, hey, if we went this way, maybe we could zag that way. If we pool our money together into one account and then pay our expenses out of that account, that might help us. But again, it's an issue when you have partners that are not on the same level when it comes to money. A lot of times you'll have partners that will put their money separately in different accounts. And it's a trust thing, absolutely. Absolutely. If she's going to go out and buy a new purse with her paycheck, then obviously you want to make sure that your money is separate because the rent has to be paid or a car payment has to come out. Who's the spender? Who's the saver? These are questions that you need to be having. And also, if somebody makes more money than the other person, that can be an issue for some people that have an ego for that sort of thing. Some people feel intimidated by a successful woman. And I'm sorry, newsflash, it's 2023. There are many successful females out there with jobs that surpass that of the average male, and that's okay. And what if she is an entrepreneur, or what if she has her own business and he is actually an employee? He may make less than her. And sometimes the dynamic, it messes up the hierarchy or dynamic, the order of dynamics of the relationship, because there are some people that are old school, traditional values and blah, 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 all that foolishness. Look, you have to learn to accept your state and place where things are. And it shouldn't be an issue because you guys are supposed to be coming together. But in some relationships, that is an issue. So I challenge each and every one of you to look at your relationships with money, consider your relationships with your partner, and before you get in too deep, if you have an understanding of yourself and how you handle money and how they handle money, then you two can possibly be equally yoked if you come to an agreement and an understanding of how you want to share your roles and how you want to play your positions, and recognize that you two can work together instead of working against each other. Too many people keep their financial cards too close to their chest when they should be working with the other person. What's that saying? There is no I in team, right? There is no I in team. So don't just focus on me, I. You have to think of the collaborating effort that you and your partner want to put together, because eventually maybe you guys want to buy a house. Maybe you want an income property. Maybe you don't want to rent forever. Or maybe you want to have kids. Or maybe you already do. So sometimes you're going to have a situation where you come into a relationship where somebody else, they already have the property. Somebody else has the kids. And you're coming into their world. And you better hope that you're up to snuff with regards to managing your money, because they'll never respect you if they see that you are not a good steward of your wallet or your purse. Same thing when it comes to you come into the relationship, you better have a job if they got a house, if they got a car, if you got a car. They're watching you to see how you're paying your bills and stuff. Believe it or not, they're listening to certain things that you say. You guys go out to dinner or you guys go out for a meal and he or she doesn't offer to pay, people are looking at that. The other person's looking at that. Women especially look at men and expect them to pay the bills or at least offer. It's so interesting that is one traditional, that's one like old school thing. And sometimes I'm hearing all sorts of things about the whole, some of these women trying to get free dates and stuff like that, or free meals and whatnot. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're really talking about being in a relationship and being good with yourself, being good with your money, and understanding that the other person that you decide to plant roots with and settle down with and whose company you really and truly enjoy, making sure that they are also a good shepherd of their flock of finances. I hope you've gotten some value out of this video. I'll encourage each and every one of you again to like, share, and subscribe on the side, and also join my mailing list, as well as feel free to connect with me if you have some concerns or you'd like to get some help with something financial wise. I'd be more than happy to talk with you. My name is Ryan Hamer, and I wish you a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.